Hey, this is Jeff. Thanks for joining me for a moment to talk about the topic of how you know if you've got a market for your online course or not. And as we're starting to dive into that, I wanted to just quickly mention that if you haven't already signed up for the upcoming webinar that I'm doing with Sid Barath of Thinkific, please do that. You'll see a link on the screen here, and that is really focused on not just the Thinkific platform, but how you launch and grow your course business. So very much about finding your market and then making sure that you're actually successful in selling in your market for online courses. So finding your market was something that I wrote about quite a bit in Leading the Learning Revolution. And it's something that comes up, again and again, buried in questions that I get about how do I market, how do I sell my courses effectively. And of course, the best way to be able to market and sell your courses effectively is to know that you've got a market in the first place. And there are quite a few ways to do that. I talk about a number of different ways in the book, but I wanted to focus in on two that have become increasingly important in the last few years, and just to make sure that you are using these as a way to verify whether there is, in fact, a market for your online courses. Now, the first of these will be very familiar. It's to use Amazon.com as a way to search and confirm that there are actually people out there who are interested in and paying money around the topic that you're actually going to be producing a course in. And before I dive into Amazon, I'll make it clear it's very important. Sometimes we think that we have to find a niche or a place where nobody's doing anything, where there is no competition, and we're going to kind of capture that market. Now, there are instances, of course, where you can do that, and that's great if you can, but in most cases, you're really going to be looking for places where people already are on board with spending money on whatever topic you're teaching. So you're trying to find out, where is that group of people? Does that group of people exist that are actually interested in what I have to teach and are going to be willing to pay for it? And Amazon can be a great indicator of that. Now, to use Amazon for those purposes, you're not just going to use the broad Amazon site. I want you to focus in on the Kindle area, the ebook area of Amazon. And what you're going to do is go into the ebook area of Amazon, the Kindle area, and I'll navigate there on the screen here. And you'll use that as a place where you can search on a topic that you're interested in teaching on to see what kind of results come up in terms of the available ebooks that people are publishing and how popular those seem to be in Amazon. So, for example, I'm going to do a search here on how to sing, which might be a topic that somebody's going to create a course on. So I type in how to sing and hit return in this Kindle area and see what comes up on that. And I'm going to be looking for a few things as I do that. One is, do some things come up? Are there actually a range of offerings on this topic of how to sing? Are people actually publishing on that? Are they charging for it? And just kind of scanning the page to make sure that, yes, indeed, that there are, in fact, things going on Amazon that people are interested in. Now, secondly, I'm going to be looking at, are these offerings actually popular, or at least some of them, very popular on Amazon? And Amazon, as you might expect, has millions of products, has millions of ebooks. So to be ranking as an author in Amazon is no small deal. So if somebody is broken into the couple of 100,000 ranking in what they're offering, that's a really strong sign that that's actually a very popular topic. So I'm going to pick one here that proclaims itself as a bestseller and go in and take a look at that. And I can see that for this particular offering that it does in fact rank quite high on Amazon. In fact, at least at the time that I'm doing this particular search, it ranks well above the 100,000 point. It's really quite a high ranking for something on Amazon.com, and it tells me, as somebody who's interested in potentially producing a course on how to sing, that this indeed might be an area in which there is going to be a viable market for what I'm producing. Now, that's Amazon, and I'm going to make a few more comments about that before I wrap up the video. But another site that I wanted to comment on as we're going along here is one that's really grown in importance dramatically, really since I wrote Leading the Learning Revolution. So I believe I mentioned them in the book, but I didn't give them a whole lot of focus, and that's Udemy. And I know a lot of the people who have subscribed to the list on my site have been debating, do I use Udemy as my platform or not? Well, this is less about whether you use them as your platform, but how you might use them for market intelligence. So again, we're going to go over to Udemy as a place where obviously, people are making and selling courses, and that's going to be a very valuable place to search on your particular topic to see, are courses actually being produced there and are they actually being successfully sold? So if we go to Udemy and do a search there on how to sing, we'll see that, once again, a number of offerings come up on Udemy, and we're going to want to, once again, peruse those offerings, get the nature of them, see how many are there. But then at Udemy, one of the things we're going to be looking at is how many students are they getting? Are these courses that people are in fact enrolling in? So if you click into a few of these, you can see that they are getting a decent number of students. Of course, this will be based on your own financials. How many students do you need to actually have a viable course? But typically, if you're getting a few hundred students into a course and you're pricing it at a decent level, that's going to be pretty good. Now, of course, one of the downsides to Udemy, and it's one of the reasons that I often recommend against it for people, is they control the pricing and keep it quite low there. So a couple hundred students at Udemy may not be nearly as valuable as a couple hundred students if you're able to offer them through a different platform, a platform that you can control and can control the prices on. But nonetheless, just seeing that people are interested in a course, are enrolling in it, are paying something for it, gives you some clues as to the viability of that market. Now, what you're going to want to do with both Udemy and with Amazon is looking at those offerings that you see there. I've searched at a fairly generic level, just how to sing. And if you do see that there's interest there, a decent level of interest, then of course that you can potentially produce a course, but you can take clues from that as to how you should frame or position your course so it stands out. Particularly, when you're looking at Amazon ebooks, that's different from a course in the first place, so you don't have quite the same pricing pressures around a course as you do around an ebook. But then even at Udemy, where you do have, very much a sense of downward price pressure on courses, you can really think through, okay, what do I do that's different here? How would I frame this course differently? How would I position it differently? So maybe it's a different type of singing, a specific type of singing. Maybe it's singing like, the 10 biggest stars that you can name. I'll say that one of the things about Udemy courses that I find interesting is they're often, just so packed full of lessons, 30, 40 lessons, which on the surface seems valuable, but a lot of times when people are coming and looking for content, they just want to figure out, how can I do this efficiently? How can I really master something very quickly? So trimming down your content can actually be a value strategy. But in any case, looking at how things are presented on Udemy, looking at how they're presented on Amazon, and then taking clues from that as to how you're going to position and promote your product in a way that's different. But in the first place, being able to verify on those sites that yes, indeed, people are in fact coming, finding those things, paying for them, participating in them, that gives you a very good sign that you do in fact have a market for your online course. And of course, with any kind of marketing success, selling success, that's the place you want to start from. You need to know that there is actually a viable market for it in the first place. So to wrap up, I have actually put together a number of other tips around this. So if you want to get those, you can just grab the download that's associated with this video. Just click the button below to get that, and you'll get 10 other tips, so a total of 12 tips on how to assess and validate your market for your online course. And then once again, before we part ways, I wanted to mention the webinar coming up with Sid Barath at Thinkific. And if you haven't signed up yet, just click the link below, and I hope to see you at the webinar later this week. Thanks.